All right, folks, welcome to what is a break from the podcast episodes and hopefully daily content going forward. I wanted to go ahead and talk about this upcoming fight card that is about to be happening in about 23 minutes. And it's a great one. Very stacked card for a fight night. This is UFC Fight Night Vegas 103, I believe. And of course, in the main event, as you can see right here, Manuel Kopp, of course, from Angola, taking on the rising Kazakhstan native Asu Omabayev. This is going to be a very good fight. I believe this is number 6 taking on number 8 overall. So this is a very solid fight overall, and I'm very excited for it. So this is going to be a breakdown in my predictions on the card, and hopefully going forward we can do more of this for the upcoming events, and hopefully possibly aftermaths after those events as well. So, wanted to go ahead and give you guys some more daily content. So, let's go ahead and talk about this card, man. So, of course, as you know, main event, Manuel Kopp taking on Asu Almabayev, and we'll get to that last. But you got to check out this card because it's a lot of notable names. It's a solid fight night card. It isn't a UFC Seattle card that we just saw last week, but overall, this card is very solid with ranked contenders, obviously, and just a lot of fun matchups, even if they, even if most of them do not make sense. But let's go ahead and talk about it. And this is a fight right here that I believe did not make sense. It's a deciding fight, don't get me wrong, a great stand-up war, but it just really seems like that the UFC is, in a way, disrespecting Charles Johnson, and obviously he's the leader of the Skullet Gang. But now it's a four-fight winning streak for him, and now they are taking on Ramazan Temirov, who made his debut against CJ Vergara, and now he gets a huge chance here. I truly believe the UFC is trying to fill a hole and trying to get their first Uzbekistan star. They could have done it with Makhmud Muradov, and of course they have Ruzi Boyev as well. But add Ramazan Temirov into that mix, and of course those chances go up. And for him, I feel like this is going to be a great fight overall. Charles Johnson, of course, is on a good streak. I believe Temirov himself is on a good streak. And this is going to be very fun. As you can see here, Johnson has the 7-inch reach advantage. And with how he uses his straight punches in this fight, I feel like that's going to be one of the best things that Johnson can do for his game plan. He's obviously going to keep it up. He's going to try and keep it standing on the feet, possibly mix in some unexpected takedowns as well, and actually trick Ramzan Temirov, who has great power, but I think Charles Johnson will be able to avoid it at all costs. Of course, he has a very distant height advantage as well, 5 inches of height advantage for Charles Johnson himself, the energy. And this is a good fight. Obviously, the ranked contender is actually the favorite in this fight, but it's actually slight favorite. And I'm not surprised why the odds are like this with Ramazan Temirov and how close they are. Ramazan is very dangerous, and I cannot wait for this fight. But overall, I have to go for Charles Johnson. I think he will attempt to pick apart Ramazan on the feet using his straight punches. Using that reach that he has, he's going to try and keep using that jab and the straight, and he does it very well. He gets under the skin of a lot of people just with his footwork and his reactions to shots alone. So this is going to be a great fight and just a wonderful fight overall for a fight night to open up the card. This fight right here, I truly believe both women are fighting for their contract. Andrea Lee taking on JJ Aldrich. Andrea Lee, of course, is coming off a good bit of losses now. It has either been by unanimous decision or split decision. Um, and Andrea Lee, I do believe she is absolutely fighting for her contract here. When she got into the UFC, she had a pretty good bit of hype going around her, and ever since then, it's kind of dwindled away. But this is her good chance right here as she takes on JJ Aldrich. For this fight, I'm picking Aldrich. You know, even though Andrea Lee has the height and reach advantage in this fight, I think JJ Aldrich is a solid boxer by itself. I thought she was doing great against Erin Blanchfield until she got caught with the submission. I feel like JJ has more experience against higher level competition than Andrea Lee. And unless Andrea Lee can surprise people like in her last fight, she almost finished the fight with a head kick. I don't really see it going Andrea Lee's way, and she's possibly going to be cut. So I'm going to go with JJ Aldrich, but knowing the women's fights in the UFC and really in MMA in general, this is anybody's game, and the odds really favor that as well. Danny Silva versus Lucas Almeida. Lucas Almeida, in my opinion, for having a lot of power, I'm very surprised that he's actually the underdog in this fight. And I really do. I feel like that's because I don't remember Danny Silva, and when they actually have the promos for both guys before they make the walkout, I'm definitely going to remember Danny Silva. But I really don't remember Danny Silva all too much. If the weight is right, Lucas Almeida has missed weight. I'm not sure how true that is. Maybe that will play a factor in this fight. And Lucas Almeida already has a good build to him already. It's going to be a great fight. I'm excited for it. Danny Silva, of course, has great significant strikes, but he's also absorbed a lot, as you can see here. And Lucas Almeida with that power, I just have to go for Almeida in this fight right now. But Danny Silva, I would not be surprised if he shut me up. Ricardo Ramos versus Shepe Mariscal, the machine gun, taking on a man who has beautiful, beautiful striking, but many people would say his fight IQ does not really show, his potential. Ricardo Ramos, I actually like Ricardo as well. I've seen his beautiful elbows in the past. He's got a highlight reel knockouts. He's fought great fighters as well, but I'm not sure how he handles the wrestling of Shepe Mariscal. Of course, Shepe's coming off that win against Damon Jackson, where he pretty much pummeled Damon Jackson for a good bit of rounds, and I think he got a unanimous decision or a third round finish, TKO. Shepe Mariscal is very good, and with Ricardo Ramos's last performances, I feel like the grappling is really going to be a problem with him. Obviously, Ramos, with his unorthodox striking, he can surprise Shepe very, very early into the fight. But overall, I got Marshall. I think Marshall takes him down, and I wouldn't be surprised if Marshall actually tried to go for some sort of submission in this fight. So this is a banger of a fight. I cannot wait to see it, and it is a great fight. This fight right here, I believe Austin Lane is the biggest underdog on the card, and in 4 UFC fights, he has looked very off. I believe he got his first victory in his last fight where he took on Robelis de Spain, and he really upset a lot of people right there. Um, and of course, after that, Robelis de Spain got cut from the UFC, which is unfortunate, but I'm good. I'm glad to see he's doing great things in karate combat. So Austin Lane, he takes on Mario Pinto, who I believe I have saw on Dana White's Contender Series. Of course, he's from Portugal. He's got good strikes, and he has landed a lot. Um, I do feel like that for Austin Lane, it has to be the grappling in this fight. And as we can see right here, in his fights with a lot of dominant strikers, right, who don't really have great wrestling. Um, he's just not very accurate with his takedowns. He will be active with his grappling, but overall, I think Mario has the size, and I think he's much better on the ground than someone like Robelis to Spain. I don't think he's just going to get held down. But, it's two big boys. It's heavyweight. I can't really say Austin Lane has a glass chin because, I mean, if a heavyweight touches you on the chin, it's probably going to be glass for anyone. So, it's just really one shot in this division. But to me, I don't know if Austin Lane can really get one shot on Pinto. But, in the land of MMA, which is truly the unexpected that will always happen, expect the unexpected. But I actually have to go with Mario Pinto on this. And I do feel like this is going to be a good fight, classic grappler versus striker showdown. And I do feel like Austin Lane is fighting for a contract here. So with the prelims, we actually move on to the main card here. And this would be a lot better if I actually had my camera on by now. But I just wanted to get everything situated first before I do that. So stay tuned for that. We will get a camera going for the podcast and videos like this as well. Good fight right here, honestly, and I'm very surprised by the odds. A lot of people are probably looking at Sam Patterson's losses, knowing that they have been his losses, both of his losses, I believe he has been finished in the first round by TKO. This time he moves up from lightweight to welterweight, I believe, and he takes on left hand to God, Danny Barlow. This is a great fight. With Sam Patterson, a lot of his fights, he really has the size advantage. And he still does have a size advantage, at least 1 inch in height. But however, Danny Barlow with that 1 inch in reach, this is going to be an interesting fight as well. I don't know if Sam Patterson will be able to get the grappling going. He does have a 100% takedown rate. Um, but on the other side, Danny Barlow has 100% takedown defense. So it's going to be an interesting fight. I actually went with Danny Barlow in this fight. I do feel like Danny Barlow gets the win, but I don't know if he finishes Sam Patterson. I'm more confident in saying this is going to be a decision. He might hurt Sam Patterson once or twice. I feel like Patterson will recover, but overall, I think this is Danny Barlow's fight to win. Now, this fight right here, it's going to be very interesting. A lot of people don't like William Gomez because of his, really his fight IQ. I think his fight IQ is off the charts. He's a great striker overall. I believe he's coming off of his victory against Joe Anderson Brito. Um, and many people thought Joe Anderson won the fight. So William Gomez has a lot to prove in this fight as he takes on the undefeated Hyder Emil, who has a lot of promise to him, as we saw with his last fight against Lee, where that 30, those Vanderlei Silva like hooks, I loved it. Um, Surprisingly, in this fight, William Gomez is actually younger by a lot. I believe Hyder Emil is actually 37, and I believe with the height and the reach as well, I think that's going to play a factor. I think William is smart enough not to not to play into the brawling game with Hyder Emil. Then again, we haven't really seen too much of Hyder Emil, but he is certainly a finisher, an 80% finish rate, as you can see here. And, his fight time is very short as well, while Gomez is the other hand of that equation. Um, and I mean, as you can see here, the stats are like that, because I mean, Gomez has had a few fights. Hyder Emil has had one fight in the UFC, one or two fights if you count his Dana White Contender Series showing. This is good. This is going to be a very good fight. I cannot wait. Gomez obviously is the favorite going into this, and I wouldn't have been upset if people actually picked Hyder Emil, by KO because, that could definitely pay out very well. Even decision could pay out even well. Um, but for me, I have to pick the safe one. I think Gomez will win by another decision, and I believe it will be competitive, but I believe this will be a 29-28 decision. This fight right here, fight of the night honors all over it. Of course, Esteban Ribovics taking on Nasrat Hakparast. This is great. Awesome fight. Of course, Kelvin Gastelum going to 155 here. Of course, Nasrat Hakparast. He's a great fighter. He's coming off a split decision victory against Jared Flash Gordon. Esteban Ribovics, I believe, is coming off that amazing war, promising fight that he took over at the Spear. So Esteban Ribovics. Other than that as well, I mean, he head kicked Terrence McKinney. He's got a lot of hype, and if he beats Nasser Kapraz and he actually looks very impressive, there is a lot of hype around this guy, and he will be the next big superstar from Argentina, which of course many people believe before Esteban Ribovics, the biggest star from Argentina at the time would be the Argentina dagger himself, Santiago Ponzinibbio. So this is a very interesting fight. I would not be surprised if Hack Paras actually got it done, but I have to go for my boy Esteban Ribovics. He's a heavy favorite, which I believe that the odds are very disrespectful to Nasrak. I think Esteban, however, will still get it done. This is basically a pick 'em right now. Marquez was actually the underdog in this fight, and now a lot of people are really looking at this here. Of course, the wrestler and Cody Brundage taking on the powerful Cuban Missile Crisis, Julian Marquez, who has had great showings against the likes of Phil Halls and Dana White's Contender Series. He's fought great names and Gregory Rodriguez and Marc Andre Barrialt, many others. I do feel like both guys are fighting for their contract here. It really does come down to this. Whoever loses this is probably not going to get their contract renewed, re-signed. So, I mean, obviously both guys, in my opinion, are fighting for their contract here. It's a tough fight, in my opinion. I believe Julian Marquez probably gets it done. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Cody Brundage just, wrestle fucked him the entire time. And Julian might actually go for some takedowns himself. Uh, but then again, as you can see with the grappling stats, he has not really done that. But we know he is very good at his grappling, I guess. One of 79 people, I believe, to have 3 different submissions in the UFC. So I mean, obviously his submissions are very active. Cody Brundage, of course, has got power in his hands as well. He showed it before in the Tresean Gore fight, and this is going to be a tough fight, folks. I'm excited for this one. A lot of people don't like this as the co-main event. Esteban Ribovic should get it, or Charles Johnson could get it. I feel like they're just going to get paid all the same. It doesn't really matter to me. And Julian Marquez and Cody Brundage, I think they're going to be fighting. They know what's up. They know if they possibly lose this, they're probably losing their contract and they're going to have to look for other territories and other companies. So it's a tough fight right here. And I think Julian Marquez actually gets it done, but I'm not surprised if the betting favorite Cody Brundage actually got this done. Number 6 versus number 8. Main event right here. Manuel Kopp Cop taking on Azu Amabayev from Kazakhstan. Great fight, dude. It really is a phenomenal fight. Of course, Asu Amabayev, just a great fighter. And so is Cop. And I mean, both of these guys are great. Um, but I would actually have to go for Cop in this fight. I think Cop has learned from that Muhammad Mokaev performance that he just needs to be more active, fighting grapplers. And I mean, obviously, the UFC believes this guy is very high. You don't just make your debut against Alejandro Pantoja and fighters like that. And of course, he had some questionable showings against them, but nonetheless, very competitive. This is a very competitive fight as well against Asu Amabayev, who's a really well-rounded fighter. But I think the difference in this fight, though I believe Kopp is older, is the speed. I think Kopp has the speed in this fight against Almabayev. The grappling, however, is Almabayev's game, but if he cannot take down Kopp, this is going to be a very long night. And I do feel like the winner of this fight should probably face Tatsuro Taira next, man. Tatsuro Taira or Brandon Royval. Of course, Kopp was supposed to fight Royval in this fight, and what a fight that would have been. Seriously, dude. We really missed out with that. But Asul Almabayev is a great backup. I cannot wait to see. And it's just a great fight overall. But I do have Kopp. I think the striking is really going to show. I think Kopp is very flashy. He might actually get under Almabayev's skin because Almabayev is still very young, I believe. Um, and we don't know how mature he can actually act in the octagon against a showboat like Manuel Kopp. So great fight overall. I'm excited for it. And I do feel like Manuel Kopp from Angola actually gets it done. The Star Boy, of course, is looking to get that title in the rematch Alejandro Pantoja. Or fight Kai Kara France because he obviously wanted that fight as well. But yeah, that's what I think about this card, man. My predictions are in, and of course, just going short with this. Charles Johnson, JJ Aldrich, Lucas Almeida, Chepe Mariscal, Mario Pinto, Danny Barlow, Gomez, Hack Parast, Marquez, Emmanuel Kopp. That is who I have for this fight, for this card, and I'm very excited to watch this. So, yeah, this is going to be great, folks. If you did actually watch this video just to see my breakdown and really my opinion, thank you so much for that. And hopefully, we just get things going better and better every single time. Manuel Kopp, of course, and Asu Amabayev. This event's great. Hopefully, next time I'll get my camera going. We'll have more breakdowns, more predictions. Maybe some people joining with me as well. Will Nilges and of course TMZ MMA as well. Hopefully, and I cannot wait to do more daily content on the road to greatness. So if you did actually stick around and listen to my opinions on this card, thank you so much. And I will see you guys in the next one.